Good evening and welcome to the Formula Racing League Assetto Corsa in Competizione. Round 2 of the Taco Tuesday series in the Pro category takes us to the Autodromo Enzo e Dino Flori in Emilia Romagna, Imola, Italy. I'm Tom Cairns, your commentator for this evening, and I'll provide with you everything you need to know during the course of tonight's action. It's the first 90-minute special of the season, so it'll be a 90-minute race instead of the conventional 60 minutes. Which will see 2 mandatory pit stops instead of 1, which should make the racing all the more interesting. In terms of what happened last week, it was Zdenek Vogel, the man who we've got in our picture right this second. He won out in the end. It was a McLaren 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. In second place was Robbo Vernke, I think it was. Just trying to remember off the top of my head. It was a McLaren 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 anyway. Just trying to jog my memory. It was Mauro Arsenio, my apologies, because he came in as a reserve last week. Robbo Vernke coming home in third place. So I can remember, let's have a look. It was Mauro Beganson who came in third place out of Robbo Vernke, and Matteo Di Stefano making it a 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 for McLaren. The highest non-McLaren driver was Jeffrey Godefroy from Belgium. He's looking to carry that momentum into the remaining races. There are 8 rounds this season. We're at Monza last week, tonight is Imola. Next week we go to Brands Hatch, followed by Austin, and then to Donington, Valencia, which is the newest circuit of the season, Solder, and then the season concludes on September the 5th at Paul Ricard. If you have joined us, do feel free to get involved in the live chat. Feel free to ask any questions about what you've been up to. We've been watching racing or other sports, particularly the cricket or whatever you've been following. Hazard Baldwin's coming in saying hi. Hello to you, sir. Hope you are well. Don't forget to follow and the Discord group if you ever so wish to do so. Josh Clayton in second position at the moment. We are expecting lap times to drop down. The track is fast at the moment. 23 in the lobby. Baldwin's just coming saying hi, how are you? I'm doing okay, thanks. Obviously it's been a very busy weekend over in Biggin Hill where I've been working at F1 during the Hungarian Grand Prix weekend. Travelling back down tomorrow for Belgium. Albeit I'm working over in Biggin Hill, not over at Spa. I wish I was over at Spa, but no, I'm at Biggin Hill. But I do enjoy it. It's what I do in my job role. So can Vogel carry the momentum? He can just have a good clean race this evening, keep himself out of trouble at the start most particularly, and think about when he decides to pit in. So the only watched on Sunday was mad in this. Not exactly sure what it is you're referring to, but forward to the action of this evening. Let me just remind you, it'll be 15 minutes of qualifying to determine the grid. And there'll be a 90-minute race. Probably looking at around, say around about 50 laps for the race. Figure anyway. Ray Thomas has gone to the top, but Volkel is about to cross over the line, and he goes back to the top with 1:43.0. There is the number 13 Porsche. The number 13 Porsche. It's coming up saying as Salzner. I should learn as to who that is. It's a new name for me, quite frankly. It's Luca Drealsi. He's a reserve driver for the season. Total of 23 in the lobby. Hopefully there'll be a few more before qualifying begins. Salzner's doing a solid job up there in P6. Flying frame, although just seen someone cross over the line. I think that was Stuart Hutchison, was it? No, it was Craig Law that's just posted a lap time. He's got up into 6th position. He had quite a race in the midfield, it has to be said, as Craig Law. Ah, okay, so probably the thing that's just come in saying about Sunday, I think it was the Sprint Sunday that it's referring to. Not anything to do with what going on in the real life of motorsport. This is season 10, in case you're wondering why it's coming up with the season X, and of course X is the Roman numeral for 10. So the FRL wants to have a rather catchy look to it. Got some more cars going over the line by the looks of it. Got the number 52 coming towards it. It's Critico. A decent race for it all. Where's this time going to put him here? It's not actually an improvement, so he stays where he is. He's got a Godefroy. Brilliant debut for him. Previously in Tier 3, I believe, in Season 9. And he is not able to get time on the board on this occasion, so he stays where he is. There is Robbo Vernke in the McLaren. Race right behind him, actually, trying to get as much mileage as possible. Through Ravazza towards the last corner of the lap, or last proper corner it has to be said. There is actually a kink before the start-finish line. The start-finish line is a little bit further down the straight to where it would be for Formula 1. So Craig Law's gone to the top with a 1:43.0, edging out Zdeněk Volkel in the process. Whilst we are waiting, we'll go on board for a lap with Critico. So here we go, look, so coming down the pit straight, and he'll brake for Tamburello in second gear before he turns in 110 kilometers an hour before he applies the brakes right in the curves. The curves are not so high round Imola, so You can use them quite a bit, but not too much. Position the car on the outside for the Villeneuve chicane. And smoothly done there. Through the left and the right. Here is Tosa. Position the car closer to the left as you turn in. Down to first gear. And I think Critico's backed out of it, unfortunately. Which is a terrible shame because Ridings with a relatively decent lap time. So let's find someone else who can use. Go on board. We'll go with Stuart Hutchison for now. I'm just trying to get onto the correct driver, unfortunately. So that's a bit of a shame. I think a lot of you know how Imola works anyway, so we'll come back to that another time. 5 minutes to go, and Law is fastest, but Vortel and Godefroy are not far behind. Neither is Vernke, neither is Ray Thomas. Stuart Hutchison up there in respectable 6th position. There's still a number of drivers yet to post a time, including Demian van der Waal in the McLaren, Luke Prentice in the Ferrari, Nico Busov in the Porsche, Morgan Grace in the Ferrari, and Mauro Arsenio in the McLaren. Weather looks to be in top condition at the moment. No rain expected for practice anyway. Don't know if we are expecting that for qualifying. We'll find out in due course. And Godefroy's gone to the top now. And the first driver into the 142s in this practice session. No points are on offer for pole position. 40 points it is for a race win, 38 for second, 36 for third. And it's a 2-point difference between each finishing position from the race win down to 11th, and then from 11th downwards it's a point difference. You finish the race, you will score points no matter which position you finish. There are also 2 bonus points on offer for the driver that sets the fastest lap, and it doesn't matter which position they finish. So into the last 3 minutes of this practice session. Got to fight. Line, I have to say, less than a tenth separating the top 4. Simplifying why it's a very competitive championship in Taco Tuesday. Sprint Sunday is anything to go by. Well, this is another series to enjoy. There's all the other championships which the FRL has to offer. If you want to know more, you can go to the Discord channel. Speak to the admins on how you can get involved. Well, Godefroy has made a much better improvement. It was a 142.9 previously, it's now 142.5. Robin Verker is in second position. Present moment anyway. 7:02 heading over the line now. That is Kobe Alerts, who had a race to forget last week, retired earlier on, as did Sean Cull, who is not around this evening, I don't think. It's Morgan Grace, who has won in the past in Taco Tuesday in this category. Did so at the Hungaroring a couple of seasons back. And he should be able to get his first time on the board now, and he's gone 16th. His time, working it out, is a 1:43.9. Busov and Marasenio won't be setting times in the session because they're both in the pits. So far, so good. By coming into the pits, probably want to practice his pit entries before the race. He will be pitting twice. And Law does not go any quicker, but he'll get one more go at it. On before the checker flag is being waved, and it's a good session so far for Jeffrey Godefroy. No points are on offer for practice though. Law comes to a stop. Pro feels there's no point. 24 34 I think it is that's coming through. That's Varklov for Pissel. He's about to go through Rivatsa. Coming into the pits as well. 52 of Critico. He's about to head over the line. 19th position currently. Does he go up the order here? No, he doesn't. Stays where he is. We've got the 433 that is still out on track. That is Van der Waal. Fourth position at the moment is the Dutchman. And is he going to improve on this occasion? We'll have a look at the time that he did there, because it just takes you straight over into quali. He went up into second place. He improved by around about a couple of tenths. So that's encouraging for him. We are underway for qualifying then. 15 minutes it is to determine the grid. We've got cars making a flurry out on track, which is no surprise because they don't have long. And I want to go to the first driver that's gone out on second, maybe Kobe Alerts. Or the driver in front of it. Is that Will Freeman in front of him? No, he's behind. It's Dennet Vorkel in the number 9 McLaren. He continues his good form. Pole sitter and race winner last week at Monza. Five drivers in the lobby as we speak. Brilliant end to the race between him and Mauro Arsenio, who closed him down in the closing stages, putting up more of a fight. But Vorkel was in control to keep his car ahead after the pit stops had been completed. Vorkel coming through. Vorkel, who is from the Czech Republic. Not sure whereabouts in the Czech Republic. Went over the line, did Vorkel, but I don't think he to go a lap time, although he might have done. I think that may have been his out lap, thinking of it. But he's on his first flying lap now, and he's hoping to keep it within track limits all the way to the line. and get his first banker lap in. To the Variante Alta. So that MGK's got a time on the board, although that may be a glitch with the game itself. It's a 3 minutes 49, but I know that's a non-representative lap time anyway. So he will improve on that in due course. Comes then, and Volkel is about to post the first representative time of the session. It's a 1:42.7. Now what about those behind? Kobe Alerts beats that, 1:42.6. Freeman third fastest in the Mercedes AMG. A whole second off the pace. He's got some work to do from there. Brandon Glover going third. And it's Adam Sasplar in the McLaren in P3. Van der Waal only 6th. Slowest of all the representative times. Nico Busov, who didn't set a time in practice, has gone up to third fastest in the Porsche. Craig Law 4th at the moment. Jeffrey Godfrey in 5th place. And we've got Morgan Grace, who was just there in P6 for a moment, but looks like there's a change in the order there. Mario Bagantin in 5th place. And Melvin Crowe's MGK, that is, has gone to the top on a 1:42.6, displacing Kobe Alerts by 0.03 of a second. Mauro Senio goes 5th in the McLaren. 18 times have been posted, made that 19. Still got a number of drivers yet to post a lap time of any sort. Ben Milden is out on track. He's hoping to get a relatively good time on the board, ideally into the top 10. Can the Englishman do? Milden approaching the line and the number 46 BMW, and his lap time is good enough to move him up to 4th position. Excellent effort there by Ben. Volkel's gone back to the top though, 1:42.4. So that leaves the others with some extra work to do. Remainder of this qualifying session. Salsner going off track, flying from yet to get a time on the board. Luke Prentice in the pits at the moment. Not exactly sure what is going on with him. Thinking about qualifying at all, or is he thinking more about the race ahead? So he'll want to try and get some laps in at least anyway, even if he is at the back. There is flying frame. Flying frame, otherwise known find his name there is Adam Sharp, from looks to be from the States, although I could well be wrong on that. So flying frame in 18th position. 22 drivers have set times so far, and Melvin Crowe has gone back to the top with a 1:42.2. Begantin's gone second, Godfrey now third, now goes to the top. 142.2 for him. Volkel down to 4th position. At least it's made the qualifying session more interesting than we first thought. It's game on in the battle for pole here at Imola. Robert Vernke the next to inherit top spot in the number 39 McLaren. These are GT3 cars that they're racing in. Crisco in the number 52 McLaren. Matteo Di Stefano, that is. Someone's rooting for the VRL boys. Not exactly sure which drivers they are, but I could probably tell by what they know. Just seen a lap time go on there for Critico, I think, or unless he didn't actually improve. He's in P22. Vernke is still top of the pile. He's 142.1. Got a fight in P2. It's Kroos, Begantin. And Volkel's down to P7 now, would you believe it? Suspar is ahead of him. Laura's ahead of him. As Josh Clayton is in a fine 8th position, ahead of Busov and Milden. Toast the hairpin. Clayton looking to find more time than what he's already found. The drivers within a second of each other. 16th, all the way down to 16th position. Robin Vernke is coming towards Ravazza. Vernke towards the line now. Is he going to improve on what he'd done before? The answer is no. Stays where he is. Volkel's up there in 4th position now from where he was before. So he's finding time. He'll get, I would say, a couple more goes at this after this lap. Marvin Kroos in 3rd place. Begantin's in P6. Law, who's going through Ravazza now, is in 7th. Arsenio only 11th as we speak. Kobulert's 12th. And the lap time there from Law was not enough to move him up the order, so he stays in 7th place. Milden in the BMW, hoping to improve on his 10th position. Even if he just improved by a fraction. Does he do that? No, he doesn't. Stays where he is. Kobulert's the number 702 Ferrari. He doesn't go up the order either, unfortunately. And the number 9 of Volkel now going to the top. 142.0 for the Czech Republican. That is an excellent time. It's not by much, but it's good enough to knock Vernke off the top spot. Godefroy's on track. Wernke looking to get back that pole position. Here he comes then over the line where the green flag is from the marshal. He does not improve. He'll get another go at it. .433 Van der Waal it is that's coming over the line in P13. Is this enough to move him up the order? He took a wide line into it, so I wouldn't have thought that would have been his flying lap. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gone that far wide. This will be his last effort, though. 68 of Apostle, who improves his time but does not improve his position, stays in 22nd. It's Vogel who is still fastest with over a minute to go. Still time for one last effort from a lot of these drivers. But the 147 of Godefroy going over the line. He does not quite go up the order on this occasion. Milden goes up the order though. P7. He pushes Lord down to 8th. Vogel coming round the last corner. Is this going to see him in the 141s? You bet your life. It's a 141.8. The first driver into the 141s in this qualifying session has the likes of Wernke, Godefroy and Melvin Kroes got anything to respond. Kroes is coming round on the pit straight here. He'll get one more go at it. So he'll get to the line before the checker flag. 4th place. He is currently. Goes up to 2nd. Excellent effort. Wernke. Can he go back to the front row? Not with the lap he's just done, but he'll get another go at it. Is anyone looking to improve or get over the line? Well, Biganti's got over the line before the checker flag. I think Van der Waal is going to be the first one to get over the line after the checker flag. Doesn't improve his time, so 13th at best for the Dutchman. Ray Thomas goes 16th, quickest. And that's his session done. What about the 95 that's coming through now? Can't quite see who is the 95 on the classification. That would be Nico Busov, who goes up to 4th place in the Porsche. Now Jeffrey Godefroy, 5th fastest it is at the moment. Can he improve with this last effort? In qualifying goes up to 3rd. That's a good effort from him. Got the 34 next behind, which is Farklov Pistol has just gone into the pits. I think the number 9 of Vorkel is looking to improve with this last effort. He's been excellent in qualifying so far. Is this going to be 2 pole positions out of 2? Well, he extends the margin over the others. So it looks like only Melvin Kroes is... Well, Melvin Kroes seems to be the only driver that could deprive him of pole position now, but I doubt that he's going to improve. No, he's going straight into the pit lane. So, Zdeněk Vogel for the 2nd week running is on pole position in Taco Tuesday in the Pro category, with Melvin Kroes a much improved 2nd in the Ferrari at the team's home track. Jeffrey Godefroy in 3rd place, and Robbo Wernke in 4th. Nico Busov in 5th in the Porsche, followed by Mo Bigantin in the McLaren in 6th place. Ben Milden and Craig Law on next, with Adam Sasplar and Josh Clayton in 9th and 10th. Moritz and Kobe Alerts on row 6, followed by Demian Van der Waal and Ghost Assassin on the 7th row. Morgan Grace and Critico are 15th and 16th places respectively. Ray Thomas and Brandon Glover on row 9. Will Freeman and Flying Frame on row 10. Stuart Hutchison and Farklov Pistol on row 11, followed by Petra Postel and Selsner. And at the back, with no time on the board, it is Luke Prentice. So we're just waiting for the drivers to make their way back onto the grid for the formation lap before we see a rolling start at the end of it, which will begin the 90-minute race here at Imola. Know what your predictions are for the race. It's a 2 mandatory pit stop event. So in terms of when the drivers can do those pit stops, they can do it anytime they want, really. As long as it's a minute after the race starts, before the last minute of the event, before the checkered flag. You have to make sure they've got enough fuel on board, though, to get to the end. We'll see some drivers deciding to refuel their cars for the whole duration of the event, which will save time at the pit stops. But they just need to make sure they've got enough fuel on board. Lucas is coming saying, where is Shidomi? I don't know who Shidomi is, unfortunately. I don't recall that name on here, so it could be that he's not racing. Cars are back on the grid now, raring to go for the formation lap. Borgle hoping to get off the line. I say get off the line. React well to the green flag when they come round to it. It's an 8-round championship. This is round 2. A lot of motor racing lined up this weekend. We've got the Belgian Grand Prix, which will feature Formula 1, of course, as well as Formula 2, Formula 3, the Porsche Super Cup, and it's also the final round of the Formula E World Championship at the Excel Arena in London. F1 Academy are racing over at Paul Ricard. Sure, there's a lot of other championships that are taking place at the same time, so I'm sure you've got your motorsport plans for this weekend sorted. Imola will of course be on the calendar for Formula 1 again next year. To let you know what date that will be, it'll be on the 19th of May, so it'll be around about the same date as what it would have been this year before the race was cancelled due to the floodings in the Emilia-Romagna region. Just hope that those who have had to evacuate the scenes have escaped what was a terrible, terrible flooding. Of course, are safe and sound. Got accommodation, food and clothes sorted for the foreseeable future. A lot of homes were damaged within the area. Likes of so there was the thing of F1 Authentics and Formula 1 Racing, £245,000 for the Emilia-Romagna Flood Relief Fund through trophy auctions, which was a touching thing to see, to help support those who were affected by the floodings within the Emilia-Romagna region of Italy. Floodings can happen in Imola, it can happen anywhere, depending on whereabouts you are in the world. Of course, there's certain locations, like in the Middle East, where rain doesn't really hit those countries as often as it would be in sort of average country. I mean, I expect too much rain within the African continent either, but most of everywhere else get the odd flood, or heavy rain, or monsoon. So Zdeněk Vogtler's on pole with MGK alongside, and it's Jeffrey Godefroy and Robbo Vernker on the second row. Nico Busov and Mauro Begantin on row 3, Ben Milden and Craig Law on the fourth row. Adam Susplar and Josh Clayton are on row 5, with Mauro Arsenio and Kobe Alerts on row 6, Damien Vanderwall and Ghost Assassin on row 7, followed by Morgan Grace and Critico, Ray Thomas and Brandon Glover on row 9, Will Freeman and Flying Foam on the 10th row. Stuart Hodgkinson and Fogler Provisional on row 11, followed by Petra Postel and Sosna, and Luke Prentice bringing up the rear in 25th place. So the grid are coming into their rows of 2 now as they exit Ravazza. So the leader will patiently wait for the green flag to wave, and once it's waved, we will go racing here at Imola. So can Vogel do what he did last week and convert pole position into victory, or will any of the others behind have something to say on that? Well, they're about to cross over the line, so we should see the green flag being waved in a moment. Once it's waved, we'll be going racing here, Imola, right about now, and the field are off. And Vogel has reacted well. MGK slotted him alongside, but watch out for Godefroy, who's trying to make a move. There's an accident! There's an accident outside. Godefroy's got involved in there. There's plenty of cars off in the background. Well, it didn't look like they leave each other enough room there. Verker's gone for a spin into the gravel. He's gone to the back, unfortunately. Not quite sure who else got involved, but that's a terrible start for him. And so the field are making their way through the first sections of the course. Vogel leads, and we've got MGK in second place, Godefroy third, with Ben Milden getting up in fourth position in the BMW. There's Susplar fifth, Law sixth, Nelsenio, Vanderwall, Beganson and Clayton in the top 10. Now, those involved were Busov and Vernker, though both of those drivers have gone to the back of the field. It almost looked like plenty of other cars were getting involved, but Vernker's got a lot of work to do. It's a long race, 90 minutes it is, so it's not the end of the world by any means. But it's the kind of incident, and Saspar's gone off the circuit as well. Where's he gone? He's gone to the back of the pack too. So he's made a mistake somewhere. Not good for him. Now the field are coming towards Ravazza now for the first time. Vogel will lead the field at the end of the first lap. Godefroy keeping those two coming in. We've got a pit stop already from Ben Milden. He wants to get his first stop out of the way. We've got Vanderwall in, And behind him we've also got Josh Clayton heading for the pits. So we've got plenty of activity in the pit lane. Those coming in will want to get their pit stops done and out of the way. They may even decide to pit in the next lap so that their mandatory stops are done. Long way to go yet in this race. They are committing to a long pit stop, or early pit stops. They've got to make sure they get through without too much drama with other cars or making a mistake. And we can see Volkel going quite slowly, and we can see MGK pulling alongside, and the Ferrari driver is looking to make a pass coming towards the Piratella corner, and Volkel keeps his nose ahead whilst we go on board with Melvin Crows. We want to get a better on-board angle. Here we go, look. So as they go through Acrominerale, MGK keeping him touch there. Cannot find a way through at this moment in time. Stays behind for now. Got to fight third, Craig Law fourth, and then it's Begantin, Moggs, who's made an excellent start from where he started. I think it was like 15th on the grid. He's up there in 6th. Kobe Alert 7th, Critico, Ray Thomas and Brandon Glover making up the top 10. There's a long way to go. Around at the end of the second lap. Volkel remaining in front there. Got to fight, thinking of a move on Crows. Doesn't go for it. We've got Moggs going down the order though. I'm not sure what's happened to him. Oh, he's dropped down horribly in the last sector. And we can see some activity going on, and that's the 13 Porsche of Sausner running wide. He'll be hoping to get through Tamburello safe and sound as he rides the sausage curbs, and alongside him is the 90, that looks like the 99, wasn't it, of Arsenio? No, it wasn't. That would have been the 94 of Sasplar, who's trying to recover lost ground. Busov is in the pits, and he's done his first pit stop now, and he'll be heading back out on track. Towards Variante Alta. Rose in P2. Got to fight P3. Law, Begantin, Critico, Thomas, Glover, Alert and Freeman. So they are heading towards the line now. Begantin with the fast stop of the race at the moment, hence why you can see the purple indicator on his position. Well, he's not longer got the fast stop, that's gone to Sedent Volkel. And Alerts and Vernker are both in the pits. So they're getting their stops done now. Volkel in front still. Top 3 in your picture, with Law a little bit further back. Heading towards Rivatsa. Volkel ahead of Crows and Godovoi still. Got Janssen behind Law. Look and see if there's any other battles going on further down, and we can see Ray Thomas doing a splendid race so far in the Ferrari, number 58. Go on board with him as he looks to make a move on Critico on the pit straight. To the slipstream, pulls out alongside, and the Ferrari looking to the outside. Does he make the move stick? Critico was able to outbrake him and remains ahead. Glover fighting it out with Will Freeman for 8th position. Now looking at the time of the race, it's currently at 5:28 PM and it's a multiplayer time lapse of 2. So we'll look to get this completed. It'll be around about just before, around about 8:15, I would say. So it could well be still daylight. Now Vorkel aiming for maximum points to extend his lead at the top. Mauro Senio, who was second to him last week, is down in 13th position, bearing in mind some came into the pits that were ahead of him on track. Now we'll look to see Godfrey think about a move into Tamburello. Can't quite do it there, so he waits back a little bit. Vigantin has the fastest lap, and Ray Thomas has gone into the pits for his first stop of the race. Vorkel still in front as MGK runs wide a little bit at Piratella, and Godfrey not able to take advantage. Don't know for certain when the leaders will decide to pit in. Answers on a postcard. Out of those that have pitted, Ben Milden is in front of those lot, and he's got track position ahead of him. Goes to Sasson, who's a long way back. I think he might have had some connection issues or something. And he's down in last place, so he'll have to hope that others fall by the wayside during the course of the next hour and 19 minutes or so. On lap 7, Vorkel beginning to bridge out the gap to the others. 1.1 seconds it is. Godfrey in P3 behind MGK. Imola has hosted a total of 30 Formula 1 World Championship Grand Prix events. First being the Italian Grand Prix in 1980 when it stood in for Monza whilst modifications would need done to the circuit, and since the event put on a decent show for the governing bodies and Formula 1 in general, they were granted a Grand Prix under the title of the San Marino Grand Prix after they got permission from Automobile Club of San Marino to have stage title of the San Marino Grand Prix for Imola from 1981 up until 2006. And after a 14-year exile from the calendar, it made a return in 2020 as part of the rearrangements in response to the COVID-19 pandemic that saw most of these scheduled venues having to call off their events. Imola was given a chance. Formula 1 has been back here since under the title of the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. Of course, it hasn't hosted a race this year due to the flood-ins at the time. It is scheduled to be on the calendar in 2024. MGK is responding to Vauxhall. 8/10 is the gap. And looking to see if there's any other battles going on. I can say that Luke Prentice is having a decent time of it. He's in 10th place in the Ferrari. Kept his car out of trouble at the start after starting from the back, setting no time in qualifying. Now he's fighting it out with the 237 Ferrari, a flying throne. There's Vauxhall in the race lead, MGK second. Godefroy, Law, Begantin, Critico on next. Glover looking to pounce at the moment. I think Ray Thomas has dropped down the order, and that's because he's been in the pits. So Glover closing in on Critico. Will Freeman not too far back. Has played host to Formula 2 last year and Formula 3. They were scheduled to go racing on the Formula 1 race weekend before the Grand Prix was called off. It's uncertain as to whether they will be going to Imola again, but realistically I would say that they will. Given the number of European events becoming fewer, you'd have thought they would make most of all the European events, making sure they fill in as many rounds as possible, considering the costs of the logistics going to Europe in comparison to going outside of Europe. Lover not able to make a move on Critico just yet, although he's thinking about trying to get into the slipstream here and have a go. It's too far back to make a lunge into Tamburello, I would have thought, so he sticks to his line and waits back. 16 minutes into the race. Track temperature 37 degrees, air temperature 34. And the headlights are coming on the cars now, so it may not be too long before we see darkness. And we can see MGK getting close up behind Volkel. Trying to put as much pressure on the McLaren as possible. We'll go on board with MGK. I think his momentum was knocked a little bit by riding over the curbs so heavily at the Variante Alta. Now coming out of Ravazza, does he get a good exit? It wasn't too bad, but I think Volkel had the slightly better exit. I don't know for certain how much fuel MGK is carrying in comparison to Volkel. He's too far back to have a go from there. See Lauren Begansin. Too far back. Got quite a gap actually between Begansin and Critico. It's well over 10 seconds it is between Begansin in 5th and Critico in 6th. The gap is 14 seconds, would you believe? And they haven't pitted yet. Just shows the pace difference so far at the moment. Milden continuing to make up ground after his pit stop. Sausner is the next car that he'll be looking to pass unless Sausner decides to go into the pits anytime soon. Ten laps have been completed so far. Volkel's gap over MGK is 4 tenths. Now MGK is under threat from Godefroy now. We can see a move. Is that Law fending off Begansin? Begansin thought about making an overtake on Law, but backed out of it in the end. We'll be back for more. There is Glover looking for a move on the outside of Critico into Tambrello. He's not going to be able to make the move stick, unfortunately. GK still in second place behind Vorfel. We'll be thinking about the pit stops. Now you do have to make your mandatory stops. You don't have to refuel, but you have to change your tyres whilst you're at the stop. And we've got a pit stop, and it's Van der Waal who's in for his second stop of the race, and a drive-through penalty has been given to Critico, and I think that's for track limits, so that's bad news there for him. He's exceeded track limits too many times, and early on in the race as well. Don't be surprised to see a number of those throughout the event, so Critico will be going in the pits to get his drive-through done out of the way now, and that's a bad dent to his race, unfortunately. He'll fall well out of the top 10. Your top 3 in your picture once more. Volkel, MGK and Godefroy. Begansin's ahead of Law now in 4th place. Law's dropped back, so Law's just sort of dropping back a little bit. He doesn't want to be fighting Begansin too much. He's got a long gap between him and Glover in 6th position. And it looks like Critico has done his stop now. He's behind Milden who's already done his first stop. So that won't count as Pizzico's first stop. It'll have to be on a separate occasion when he comes into the pits, hence why it is painful to have that. Now we've got a battle for the lead again because MGK is close right up on Volkel through the Variante Alta, but he's not close enough, unfortunately. See the dirt on his windscreen as well. So how hard he's been pushing. May have just been a bit of dust being kicked up from Volkel as they are going through the gravel a little bit. Got the 4.33 in front of the leaders now. Van der Waal has done both of his stops. He'll have to get out of the way of the leaders should he get blue flagged. Go on board with MGK, who looks to make a way past Volkel. I think Acqua Minerale is where he's been gaining the most time at over Volkel. That's probably his strength to Volkel's weakness on this track. See how well they go through the Acqua Minerale here. Not close enough on this occasion to have a go, but it may try and put him under pressure through the Variante Alta once they get close enough to it. As you can see him riding through the sausage curve there, he needs to be wary of track limits at the same time. See, the leaders are coming through. 24 minutes into the race and 14 laps completed. Van der Waal's just staying out of the way, no problem. Miko Busov has the fastest lap as we speak. Volkel is holding up MGK at the moment. Not battling for position after all, so there's no reason for him to let him by. Why on earth would he? Towards the Variante Alta once more. Still no change at the front. And we saw Volkel be put under pressure by Mauro Arsenio in the closing stages last week, and he coped under the pressure very, very well, and he's doing exactly the same here with pros, keeping the car in the right places, even in the closest of situations. Lap 16. Volkel's gap is 4 tenths. To be honest, you don't need to know what the gap is because you can see the two drivers in your picture close together. Nearly a third of the way through this one. Yeah, coming through very anti-health once more. It looks like MGK had the better line. We'll ride on board with him again. But Vorkel able to pull away once more from the Ferrari. Godefroy's dropped back a little bit from these two. Here we go then, on the pit straight. Don't think MGK is going to be close enough to have a go, unfortunately. Up the hill they come, Vorkel and Crows, as they come towards Piratella, the sweeping left-hander. You can see MGK running wide there, needs to be careful not to do that too many times. Now the highest driver in the field that has made a pit stop is Ben Milden in 15th position. And he's got clear track ahead of him, and Postle is less than 12 seconds up the road from him. So Milden making the most of the strategy so far. It's to good effect. Whether there'll be a threat to the leaders later on, that's anyone's guess. Very difficult to say. But should he finish in the top 5 or somewhere along those lines, I don't think he'll complain too much. Tamburello. And Vorkel still in the lead. And we've got an off actually, it's the 713 that's gone for a spin, and that goes to Sassin, who's a long way back down the field anyway, so he's very much out of sync with the others. And we've got another car off. And it looks like Van der Waal is off the circuit. Is that Van der Waal off the circuit? No, it's MGK! MGK's off the track and he's damaged the car. He probably took too much curb to the entry of the Villeneuve chicane, which sent him into the gravel and into the barrier. Now the bonnet you can see is damaged. As we ride on board, yeah, you can see the bonnet is wobbling. So I would imagine that he'll be off into the pits. You can see the car's handling is not as sweetly as it was before he went into the wall. So that'll be the Dutchman into the pits and a very frustrating time. And nearly a whole lap to go through with that damage. So Vorkel has a lead of around 4 seconds over Godefroy now. Ganson's up to 3rd, Law 4th, MGK in 5th place and coming into the pits. So Will Freeman will go up a position unless he decides to pit in this lap. He's got ahead of Brandon Glover, for your information, on track. We didn't see the overtake, but he's ahead of him now. Yeah, it was a poor mistake really from Melvin Crows to send him off the track. And I think Ben Milden should go in front of him because he did not need to come into the pits for damage repair. So MGK is going to find himself with a lot to do between now and the checker flag. Postle's coming into the pits. Vervissel is already in front. Ben Milden just doing his best to make sure he stays within track limits. There's already been a casualty so far of that. MGK hasn't left his box yet. Vorkle in P1. Aiming for 2 wins out of 2. So that MGK has he rejoined the track yet? He has, and he's down in 21st place now, I think, or 22nd. Has, and he's got a lot of work to do from there. Godefroy's in the pits now, in the BMW. So will Vorkle decide to react to that, or will he go longer on his first stint? It is about the point now where you look to get your first pit stop done. Vorkle's got all the clear track he needs, so you won't have too much to worry about at this point. Luke Prentice in the pits now for Ferrari. And Critico coming in for his first scheduled stop. Godefroy will rejoin behind Josh Clayton. I think Nico Busov will go past too. Just waiting for the classification to update. It will update once drivers have gone through particular sectors of the lap. So Godefroy's rejoined the race now. What will Vorkle decide to do this lap? Will he come into the pits, or will he decide to carry on? We've got the 52 in the pits, which is for Critico, so you won't need to worry too much about him. He's done his stop now. This man behind him is Mauro Brigantin, as Craig Law comes in from 3rd position. So we'll see, will Freeman go up into the podium places unless he decides to pit in himself. Glover goes up to 4th, Arsenio 5th, and Hutchison will go up into 6th position. A better race of it tonight than it was so last week. Stuart Hutchinson. Vorkle continuing on. His car pointing in the right direction. No dramas for him so far. It's the straight towards the Villeneuve chicane. Jansen 4 seconds back. Freeman and Glover and Morix actually dicing it out for 3rd place on track now. All 4 of these in your picture have still, well, say 4 of them, 3 of them I should say. I think that's MGK is behind them and a lap down. He's got a lot of work to do from here on in. That repair damage has cost him a bundle of time, and any chance of a podium has gone out the window for him, that's for sure. Freeman didn't get the best of lines coming out of the Phelan chicane, and now we are seeing Arsenio dive into the inside of Glover, into the Tosa hairpin, and that is a brilliant overtake. Oh, a little tap there, that was a little bit naughty that from Arsenio. He gets through at last anyway, or does he? Glover is still there, but I think Glover's going to have to accept defeat on this occasion. Now about to go through Ackerman and Raleigh. Will they go through together, or will Glover settle in behind? He settles in behind, which was the sensible thing to do. And Arsenio goes up into 4th position in the McLaren. Volkel thought about coming into the pits, but decides to continue on. Not saying he's going to win every race this season, but he's looking like in a league of his own at the moment, even though it isn't exactly as it may look. Still yet to make his first pit stop in this race, remember. And Craig Law is the highest of all those that have made a pit stop. And he's in 9th position ahead of Ben Milden, who's only 2.5 seconds behind him. And Glover and Arsenio doing battle once more. Arsenio fending him off into Tamburello. And we've just seen Arsenio go off as well. My apologies if I just missed that. So Arsenio's just gone off the track at Tamburello, and he's lost out to Glover, Hutchison and Morgan Grace as a result of it. He's still ahead of Pavizzle, but he's down to 7th place now, is Morix. So I apologise for missing what was going on there. I'm sure you saw it better than I did. It's Volkel, and there's Beganson, who's trying to close in and stay in touch with the race leader outright. Volkel, at the end of lap 23, comes in for his first stop. Janssen will take over at the front. Now, the race that Volkel has is with Craig Law. Now, Godefroy has dropped down to 16th position. He's had a torrid pit stop, or a really torrid second stint. So the closest rivals to Volkel in this pit stop battle is Craig Law. He's going through Variante Alta, or has just done now. We've got Volkel, we've got Morgan Grace, we've got Mauro Senio coming into the pits. So we should see Law go through ahead of Grace and Arsenio. Volkel has just done his pit stop now, and he's left his box, and Craig Law is a long way ahead of him. Long way ahead of him. Ben Milden will go through, and Josh Clayton, who has already pitted, is he going to go ahead of Volkel? He is, you know. So he goes past. Busov goes past as well. So that's the effect of the undercut here at Imola. But Volkel will be on better tyres than these lot. So could that open up another option in terms of when to pit in next? Well, I can say that Critico has picked up his second drive-through penalty of the race, and it's for track limits once more. So his race has gone from bad to worse already. Definitely not going to be finishing in the top 10 in this race now, unless others get hit with penalties or incidents of some sort. So this could open up a few options. I can say that Kobe Alerts has come into the pits to get his second mandatory stop done. Briscoe's done his drive-through now, so he's behind MGK, I believe, who's gone up, and MGK's made up another position because Alerts was in the pits. So the fact that Alerts has done his stops now has given him a chance to actually put himself within range of a top 10 finish, I thought. Beganson is in the race lead then, temporarily at least. The next car ahead of him is the 237, which will be flying for him in the Ferrari. It's only a few seconds up the road from him, so we'll want to try and make the most of the clear track in front before he ducks in for his first stop. Around about halfway through the race now, and Beganson actually pits in at the end of lap 25. So is Will Freeman going to go into the race lead, or is he going to come in for his first stop? There's Brandon Glover there, ahead of MGK, who's a lap down, trying to unlap himself. And Freeman goes into the pits, so Glover is going to have a stint at the front. Had a good race so far. Now will he just allow MGK to go through? Into turn 2, technically, with Tamburello, because there's a kink before Tamburello. And MGK is going to pull alongside. Is he going to go in front at the Phelan chicane? That would have been a brave manoeuvre. Unfortunately, he can't make the move stick there. Freeman and Bevizzle are in the pits. Hutchison, oh no, Beganson's in the pits. Freeman's in the pits and Bevizzle in the pits. Now, I don't expect Beganson to get out in front of Vorkel. The McLaren crew have done the best of pit stops. Now he's behind Vorkel, as he was, I think. Unless he's ahead of him. No, he's behind him. And so is Will Freeman. So Vorkel is ahead of Bevizzle and Freeman. Josh Clayton is the next one ahead. So Vorkel is in 6th position on track. I think once Glover and Hutchison have done their first pit stops, Vorkel will be in 4th place. Busov, Vernker and Prentice are in the pits now too, so they're getting their second and final stops done. Glover goes for the pits now after one lap. Oh, did he slow the car down in time though? Well, Hutchison is entering the pits now as well. He looks like he got it stopped. So Craig Law is going to be in the race lead on merit. Looking very, very good. Ben Milden in 2nd position. Then it's Josh Clayton. So Denick Vorkel's got a lot of work to do from here now. Unless he's got another trick off his sleeve. Of what he could decide to do as far as race strategy is concerned. I would have thought, because he stay out longer than the likes of Law, Milden and Clayton, that he'll wait it out until the closing stages, because if you wait it out until like the last 10 minutes of the race, you can get a quicker pit stop done, and that's going to bring Vorkel back into play for the victory. So it's not over yet. And a drive-through penalty once again for Critico. That's the 3rd one in this race for him. I mean, he's done both his pit stops now. And it's a stop-and-go penalty for Brandon Glover. And that's for speeding in the pit lane. So it says, I had suspected that he went in too quickly into the pit lane. And so it's a 30-second stop-and-go penalty. So not a drive-through for Brandon Glover. It's a stop-and-go. Not only he's got that to do, he's got one more pit stop he needs to make, and he's going to fall well out of the top 10. So the highest driver in this race now that has done all their pit stops, I believe, is Josh Clayton, who's running in P12 ahead of Will Freeman. And Craig Law is in the pits for his final stop already, as is Ben Milden. Now remember, Ben Milden came in at the end of the first lap to get his first pit stop done. This is going to be his second pit stop. So Vorkel will go back into the race lead, but he's got one more stop to make. But given the tyres that he is on, he'll probably go as far as around about 10 to 15 minutes to go in this race before he comes in and completes that stop. Craig Thomas also coming in. Running in 14th place, MGK 13th now, but he has still got another pit stop to do. Ghost Assassin, who's still trailing around at the back, is yet to make a pit stop so far in this one, but if he can get to the checker flag, at least he'll still score points, regardless of what position it actually is that he finishes. Jeffrey Godefroy is back into 3rd place. Over Craig Law and Ben Milden close together actually. So they are exiting the pits now. Arsenio's gone through. Petropostle is about to go past too. It is Farclough for Pizzle. I don't think he will. So you have to say Craig Law and Ben Milden are in the fight for the race win. It just depends on how quick of a pit stop Vorkel has when he eventually comes in. But that's not going to be for a while yet. So they've got to get the hammer down now of Milden and Law, and they're going to be stuck in traffic. It's not an ideal scenario for either driver. So it's game on. Do not go anywhere, folks. The element of pit strategy is going to decide the outcome of this race. Up the hill, Vorkel comes. He's got over 6 seconds in hand over Begantin. The gap Vorkel has over Craig Law in 8th. Around about 50 seconds, I'd have thought. It's at least that. But that could be all that he needs to win this race. Car in the pits, it's the 7-1-3. Let's Ghost Assassin is making his first stop now. "39 minutes to go, approaching the end of lap 29. Number 9 McLaren getting the hammer down, going as quickly as he can. Who boosts off with the fastest up at the moment. In 13th, and a drive-through penalty for the 433, and track limits once more, and this time it's Demian van der Waal. I was going to say Critico, but he has had enough drive-through penalties to say. It is Demian van der Waal who is being penalised for that particular infringement. Brandon Glover coming in for his final stop now. But there's no chance of a good haul of points for him. Vorkel doing his best. Seems Stuck behind a couple of back markers at the moment, but to be fair, so are Law and Milden. And both of these get on the podium. Glover's down in 23rd place. After his pit stop, it'll go back up another position because of Van der Waals' drive-through. Van der Waals done both of his stops up to this point. I think Law and Milden are about to get the benefit of the blue flags now. Craig Law in 8th position. Ahead of him is Petr Postel, who's in fact fighting for position. So Law needs to get through on the number 68 Ferrari. And Van der Waals has got one more lap to do before he has to take that drive through, otherwise he'll be disqualified from the race. They head towards Tamburello. No way through at the moment. He'll probably have to make a lunge into the Tosa hairpin. Be very ambitious if he goes for it at the Villeneuve chicane. He looks to the left. Want to take a really nice line coming out of the Villeneuve chicane, and that's a very nice line. Will he go for it into the Tosa hairpin? Up the inside goes Craig Law. Does Petr Postel see him? He does just about leave enough room. They're going to go side by side heading towards Piratella, but Craig Law has to back out of it. This is costing him time, and Ben Milden's going to close in on him shortly. Coming out of Acrimilla Raleigh now. Gets a better exit than Postel. He's not close enough to make the move just yet. It's important that Law gets in front here. He has to get in front. He's got any hope of winning this race. See Postel running wide there, and that's all that Law and Milden need to get in front. So they go through no problem. And now they can focus on their next targets. Van der Waals comes in to get his drive-through penalty done. He won't be a problem to Law and Milden, thankfully. Next up is Mauro Arsenio in 6th position. He's 17 seconds up the road, and he's still got a pit stop to do. So Law just needs to focus on getting the hammer down, get some fast laps in. Same from Ben Milden's point of view. On lap 32, Vorkel's lead is 6.2 seconds over Begantin as he completes the lap now. And we are probably looking at around, I think, over 50 laps. Either 50 or 51 laps. So, they're going through Tosa. Vorkel is anyway, got to fight, is another 6 seconds off the race lead, 12 seconds in total, or just over that. Craig Law in P7 ahead of Ben Milden. Who knows? I mean, it's not just Law and Milden that Vorkel and Begantin and Godefroy could be in a fight with. It's of Josh Clayton, Nico Busov and even Will Freeman. But it depends on how late they leave the pit stops, because the longer they leave it, the quicker the pit stop could be when the tyres are being changed. Out of Ravazza. .4 seconds between the race leader and the man in second place. Stands with the positions as they are. It'll be 2 wins out of 2 for Vorkel, and he'll have a healthy lead at the top of the championship. Won't go into too much detail in terms of the championship until we've got all the pit stops completed, and then we'll have a better look in terms of who's going to be finishing where in this one. Arsenio and Vorkel were tied on points, but Vorkel did win the race last week. Arsenio finished second and got fastest lap. There's no way Arsenio, I don't think, is going to finish in second place. Get the fastest lap. Looks like it could possibly be Murray Begantin that finishes second in today's race, which we'll see him move up into second place in the championship. Now, Robbo Vernke, who had been caught up in the first lap mayhem at the start, is in P16. Doubt that he's going to be finishing in the top 10 at the end of this one. It's doubtful, but it's not impossible. Got 30 minutes to go. Vorkel coming around to complete lap 34. We've got a couple of spinners. There's the 226 that's gone for a spin. That's Craig Law! Oh, and he's spun, and Petrol Posters collided, as has Vorkel Babissel. Oh, that's terrible for Craig Law. He didn't need that spin. That's a really poor error. Ben Milden avoided the carnage, but Craig Law's Mr. Namina has forced drivers to go into the gravel there, including Postel and Babissel. And that's his chances of the victory gone, and he's probably got damage to his car. It's not the first time we've seen that from Craig Law, making a mistake like that. And I would imagine, I think the handling of the car will be too poor to be driving in. He may decide to just duck into the pits to get the repair work done. All that hard work wasted, as far as he's concerned. So Ben Milden is ahead of him now. Postel's gone into the pits, and unsurprisingly so. And I imagine that Babissel is going to be doing the same too. So he's actually stayed out. I've got the 226 now in as well. Craig Law getting the damage repair work done. I think there was another spinner out on circuit. I couldn't tell who that was. It might have been the 233 of MGK, was it? No, it won't have been him. It was at the Variante Alta when it was all going on. We had 2 spinners going on at the same time. Law was one of them at the Piratella, the other was at the Variante Alta. So Law dropping down the order. May not even finish in the top 20. And that's a spin. Is that for Bizzle who's spun? Or is that Demon van der Wal? I think that's Demon van der Wal that's had a spin on the exit Tamburello, and that just sums up his day. Gets going again. That's one less threat for Vorkel to be worried about. Godefroy's dropped further back from Begantin. All Ben Milden needs to do is just keep the car pointing the right way. He's about to put a lap on Craig Law. Law completes his stop. He's down in 22nd position now. Also lost a driver from the server. I can't remember off the top of my head who that is. Busov is in the top 10 now. Clayton is behind MGK, who's still got one more stop to do. Clayton won't need to worry about him, but he will not want to get stuck behind him for too long. Clayton could well be in play for a podium here if he keeps it up. So we've got around about 15 laps to go in this race. Race. A long way back from Godefroy. Mauro Senio not too far back either. There's Hutchinson. Milden about to go through Ravazza now. Next one ahead of him is the 713 of Ghost Assassin. I think Ghost Assassin was the other spinner, as far as I can remember. He's going into the pits now to get his last stop done. I think it's Critico who's left the server, so he's out of the race. I imagine that Van der Waal will probably leave as well. Volkel has decided to pit in now, so this will be his last stop of the race. I want to try and get the benefit of the tyres, which are going to go onto the car. Begantin goes into the race lead for now. Now, Ben Milden is the driver who wants to be watching. I can tell you he's coming towards the Variante Alta. Is he going to be close enough to get through on Vorkel? If he gets through on Vorkel, even if it's just by the narrowest of margins, I don't think he will, to be honest with you. And a drive-through penalty for 226. That's Craig Law for track limits, and that just sums up his evening, unfortunately. Well, Vorkel's done his stop. He's approaching the pit exit now. Milden is exiting Ravazza, but he's too far behind, so Vorkel will rejoin ahead of him. Now, Milden's tyres will be up to temperature. Vorkel has got all the time he needs to get his tyres up to temperature. So he looks to be well on course for the victory now, providing he doesn't make any more mistakes. Got the 147 going for a spin. Don't know who that is. Is that Godefroy that's gone for a spin? I think he's had a moment. Has Godefroy. And he's lost a lot of time. He's definitely not 11 seconds behind Begantin, and that mistake could cost him a podium position. Begantin's continuing to stay out. He was 6 seconds behind Vorkel before the Czech Republican came into the pits. So Begantin needs to put in the best laps possible to keep his place on the podium at least. Another home race for him, of course. Van der Waals rejoined the race in 23rd position. Law is in 22nd place. Taking his drive-through penalty now, but I think he's calling it a day in the pits. Yeah, he's stopping in the box. So Craig Law's race is over. He's out. No points, it seems to be, for him this evening. So Beganson looking to get the most out of the tyres that he's on. Don't know how long it'll be before he leaves it. Come into the pits. On how well he's managing them. Now he will come up to a heap of traffic. They've just exited Ravazza, so I think he'll actually be okay for now until he pits in. See further back, there's a battle going on there. I think that's Van der Waals who's trying to unlap himself from what looks like Luke Prentice in 17th position. See Prentice there trying to fend off, and just needs to be careful not to be making more than one change of direction on the straight, even though Van der Waals is a lap behind him, or a few laps behind him. Van der Waals trying to make up for lost time. Prentice may just decide to let Van der Waals go through here. I mean, Van der Waals on paper is a quicker driver than Prentice, but Prentice is ahead. As Van der Waals trying to get to drive on the exit of the corners. Prentice just stays in front for now. So Beganson coming through Variante Alta. Is he thinking of pitting in this lap, or is he going to leave it a few more tours before he makes that stop? Laps completed. Jansen coming onto the straight is behind the 713. Riding the curbs. Jansen down towards Akram Raleigh. Jansen continuing on. It's got a lead. The gap now, it's more than 45 seconds, I think, or around about that figure, over Vorkel. Is that going to be enough of a gap for him to complete a quick enough pit stop to get out in front? Hilden is nearly 7 seconds behind Vorthel. So through the Villeneuve chicane. Looking at the time of the race now, it's 7:38 PM. Means that if the race elapses him twice as fast in terms of time, should be finishing at around about 8:15. Toby Alerts is running in 14th position. He's behind Volkov and Pistol, who still has another stop to make. Robert Verke is in 12th position. He was in the top 4 on the grid at the start before he got caught up in the mess at Tamburello. Get in front of MGK, who needs to go into the pits for one last time. Probably get ahead of Stuart Hodgson and Morgan Grace. So a top 10 finish could still be on the cards for Verke. So, Vorthel, who's running in 6th position. It's coming up to back markers again. Well, it may not be back markers, actually. No, it's not back markers. It's, well, Glover, who is down a few laps now on the leaders. Well, he's in 19th position, a lap down, at least. He's got Hudson behind him, who has still got one more pit stop to make. And Glover has to adhere to the blue flags. And he's keeping Hutchison back, which is not ideal for Stewart. And about 15 minutes remaining. Beganson is doing all he needs to do. I think once he gets up to the heap of traffic that's ahead, that's when he'll decide to pit in. It's a car that's run wide there. I think that may be the 13 that's run wide. That would be Selsner, who is on course to finish in 21st position. Not be the best of results, but at least he'll get to the checkered flag. So Beganson and Godefroy, Mario, Senio, Moggs and Hutchison have still yet to pit for their last stops. We expect those stops to be rather quick, given how long is left in the race now. Vorthel is now stopped behind Hutchison. It can only be good news for Beganson if Hutchison can hold up Vorthel. So Beganson to say he's out for another lap. He's not too far off the lapped bunch ahead of him. I would think that this lap is when Begansen's going to head for the pits. That's my prediction anyway. Not long to go left in this race, but there's still drivers needed to make their last pit stops. Jansen is coming up to lap Sausner, who should not get in the way. Will he know that he's there? Yes, he will. Stays out of the way. It's a drive-through penalty for Demian van der Waal for track limits. He's already had a terrible day today. It's been one to forget. Won't be too long before Begansen catches up to car ahead of him. That is Volklop of Vissel. Car is weakened after that clout with Craig Law at Piratella. Now, when will Begansen go for the pits? He goes for the pits now, and he'll get the car so down in time, I think. Just about, I think. So this is an important pit stop. There's Volkel, who's about to come through Variante Alta, but how long will Begansen's pit stop be? Let's have a look. That was around about 5 to 6 seconds. Could that be the pit stop that wins in this race? Volkel is too far back, I think. Jansen is about to leave the pits now, and he's in the race lead. Volkel is way too far back. There'll be a bit of time before he gets his tyres up to temperature, and Volkel getting held up by Vissel, who needs to stay out of his way. So being stuck behind Hutchinson has cost Volkel dear, and he's running wide. He's lost momentum after being held up by the Audi ahead. Vissel's gone off the track and stays out of the way, and Volkel will be absolutely furious. It's Begansen's race to lose now. He is on course to take victory here at Imola. She needs to stay on track without any more mistakes, and the victory will be his. But clear track in front of him too. Volkel is stuck behind Hutchinson, annoyingly for him. Hutchinson won't care though, he is running his own race. They are going through Variante Alta. You can see Volkel's just feeling rather frustrated at the moment. There is Moggs, who has got Glover behind him, who is a lap down. And Moggs is coming into the pits now. What about Hutchinson? Is he going for the pits too? No, he's staying out. Mauro Arsenio is staying out there for as long as he can, really, or he needs to go for the pits. Van der Waal coming in to get his drive-through penalty done. So it looks as though it's going to be Begansen, Volkel and Milden on the podium. What a drive from Ben Milden. With Volkel being stuck behind Hutchinson, Milden's closing in on him realistically in the fight for P2 in this race. Now he's coming up behind Postel now, who's a lap down on him. Yeah, and Postel being as kind as he should be, letting the BMW past. Josh Clayton's trying to get through on MGK, who's still yet to make his last trip to the pits. Vorkel behind Hutchinson, who goes into the pits, and so Vorkel can start closing down Begantin, but I don't feel that he's going to have enough time to do it. He's only got 4 laps left to catch him, and the gap between him and the Italian is over 8 seconds. Begantin can afford to take it very easy. Race lead it will be soon enough. Gap between him and Vorkel's now 8.5 seconds, although Begantin ran wide on the exit of the Villeneuve chicane, so that may allow Vorkel to close back in a little bit. He's the best laps of his life. So Hutchinson has done his stop now. He's got the 18 coming up behind, which is Moggs, who will stay behind him, I think. Hutchinson rejoins in 13th, but once MGK has done his stop, he'll be ahead of him in 12th. Vernke is back in the top 10 now. Is Mauro Arsenio, who won't be on the podium today. He's going to be close in terms of whether he's going to be in the top 10, actually, thinking of it. He's the best pit stop possible to have any hope of salvaging anything strong. With just over 5 minutes remaining, he pits in for the last time. Only MGK is left to make his stop. Done his stop now already as Arsenio. MGK is staying out there. He's going to stay out there until the last moment possible before he needs to pit in. So Arsenio is behind Godefroy, and we've got a spin involving the 22. Who is in the 22? Can't see on the leaderboard who that actually is. But either way, the 22 has spun. The Freeman, is he ahead of Morex? He is. Kobe Alerts is not, though. So Arsenio is out in 9th position. Vernke, I think it is, that's had a spin. And he's dropped back. So it's been a terrible day for the Slovakian. Saspar in P11. Almost dropping it, but keeping in good stead. Gap between Begantin and Vorkel is still 8.5 seconds. Ben Milden on course for a podium here. And what a splendid performance it's been from him today. They've taken that at the beginning. GK running in 4th position and going for the pits now. That'll move Josh Clayton up to 4th position, which I believe will be his best ever result in the top tier of Taco Tuesday. Nico Busov going up to 5th position and has the fastest lap to his name. Godefroy will be in 6th. Freeman will go up into 7th place. Arsenio will be 8th. Alerts will be 9th. And Sasplar will be 10th. And Vernke, who is struggling at the moment with his car, has just been overtaken by Moggs. It doesn't look like MGK actually did his pit stop properly, unless I'm mistaken with the timing of the page. But it doesn't like he actually changed his tyres, unfortunately. He'll have to do that pit stop again. Spigantin, there is Glover, who's in 18th position. His Melody's in this one. Spigantin will be on his final lap once he crosses over the line. What a brilliant effort has been from him. After it goes over the line, there'll be one more lap to go now in this race. After qualifying 6th on the grid, it was, has made the strategy work perfectly for him. 7.5 seconds in hand over last week's race winner, Zdeněk Vogel. Missing out on the victory will be a disappointment to him, but consistency all the way through the campaign is what's going to win you the championship. And we've got the 2-3-3 in the pits now. I think, or was it the 4-3-3? I can't quite tell on the graphic. MGK's in the pits, and I think that'll be for his stop now, and I think that's his race over. So it may not even count as a race finish. If that's the case, he'll get no points from it. But there is your race leader, Mauro Bergantin, making his debut in the pro category, it is anyway, in Taco Tuesday. He's about to take his first win. And will we see more performances like this from him in the near future? It was 3rd last week for him at Monza. He's about to go to the top step here in Emilia-Romagna at Imola. Bit of a slide coming out of the last turn. He allows Glover to go through on the lap himself. And Bergantin closes to the line. And he's going to win at Imola in Taco Tuesday. What a race win for Mauro Bergantin. Zdeněk Vogel over 5 seconds behind in 2nd place. Ben Milden on the podium. Well done to him. And Josh Clayton with his best ever result in 4th position. Nico Busov 5th. Jeffrey Godefroy in 6th position. And it's Will Freeman in a respectable 7th place. Mauro Arsenio 8th position. A step back from last week, but at least he still picks up good points. Adam Sesplat in 9th. And Kobe Alert's getting his first points of the season in 10th place. Morgan Grace will be 11th. Ray Thomas will be in 12th. Robert Verker in 13th has got what looks like Luke Prentice just made a move up the inside of Stuart Hutchinson. And the two make contact going into Rivazza. So Hutchinson's got through ahead of Prentice. So it'll be Verker 13th, Hutchinson 14th, Prentice in 15th place. Flying Frame will be 16th. Glover will be the last on the lead lap in 17th place, or 18th as it should be. I don't think the positions are correct at the moment, so we'll wait for the final classification to run down on the correct results. But there's your race winner. It is Mauro Bergantin in the McLaren here at Imola, and that victory and celebration will live long into the night for him. So we're waiting for the remaining drivers to head over the line. But what a race it was. Just waiting for Glover to go over the line. So going back on the race results, Mauro Bergantin is the winner. Zdeněk Vogel second after starting from pole. Ben Milden third. Josh Clayton in fourth. Nico Busov in fifth and getting the fastest lap. Jeffrey Godefroy in sixth. Will Freeman Mauro Senio, Adam Sussblow and Kobe Alerts running out the top 10 Morgan Grace and Ray Thomas are next, followed by Robbo Vernker and Stuart Hutchison, Luke Prentice and Flying Frame in 15th and 16th, Brandon Glover 17th, had a Petrol Apostle, Glover Vissel and Sosner in 20th position. MGK didn't complete his mandatory pit stop, so I doubt he'll keep his 21st place. Demian van der Waal was 22nd, Ghost Assassin in 23rd place. Law and Critico didn't finish the race. In relation to the championship, Vogel moves on to 78 points. Beganton with his second place, with his race victory, is up to second with 76. So the gap is 2 points between those two in Vogel's favour. The next round will be, if I can get my calendar up, next round will be in Brands Hatch on August the 1st. Unfortunately, I won't be around next week due to other commitments, so whoever's doing the commentary for then, hopefully will do as good of a job as I have done, if not better. So, that's all for tonight. Thank you for watching us. If you're watching us live on Twitter, do make sure you follow. If you watch us on YouTube, on Catch Up, do make sure you subscribe to the channel and keep right up to date with all the action within the FRL. That's all for tonight. Thank you very much, and we'll do it again next time. I'm Tom Cairns, and I'll speak to you again soon when the Formula Racing League returns.